I'm Ricki,
I'm Jake.
and you're listening to 20 Somethings Doing Nothing. We often forget to do that intro, so I'm glad I remembered this time.
Same.
Normally, we just end up talking about things and we get so wrapped up with the things that we're talking about that we completely fuck up and forget to introduce ourselves.
But this time we didn't, so it's good. Oh, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a cider from Star Cut Ciders.
I feel like I need a drink.
You should have gotten a drink.
Well, that was a stupid mistake.
Yeah, that was like just flat out silly. I kind of expected that this week is going to be a lot of drinking.
Yeah, we have some fun things this week. I'm excited. Well, actually, but it's weird because by the time we post this episode, the fun things will have already happened.
Yes. We have a special guest tonight. But we're recording this on a Monday. So it's all weird, the timing. But on Wednesday night, which will already be time past, we are doing a stream with Carla Marie and Anthony and our friends at Almost On Air, Erica and John, on Carla Marie and Anthony's Twitch channel, much like what we did for Christmas.
Except
same kind of idea.
We just added humans.
Yes, we added more people, but same kind of idea.
Also-
Lots of drinking, lots of fun games, and a lot of shit talking.
Also, since we last had an episode, we recorded an episode with Almost On Air, the podcast, and that was so much fun. So if you haven't listened to it, I would highly recommend going to listen to it. Oh, I thought you were getting a beer. I really wanted one.
Jake's talking to his roommate now.
We're going to start drinking.
And I wanted to mention, though, before anything and before I forget, that if you are watching this, or listening to this, even though it's after the stream, you can still watch the stream on their Twitch channel. You just have to go to twitch.tv/Carla Marie and Anthony, and it will still be up for a little while. I think it's like 2 weeks it stays up before it disappears. So you could still kind of see it. You have time, as long as you're not listening to this a month after it came out.
It's kind of crazy how many different places you can find us right now.
Yeah, we're
on
everywhere.
Almost On Air podcast. We're going to be on Carla Marie and Anthony's Twitch. We're going to be here. Wait, ready?
We got a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
How nice of your roommate to bring you a beer.
Mm-hmm.
We love a supportive roomie.
Same, though. But we're not going to be roommates for long.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we doing this?
No.
Okay.
I'm moving out of my apartment. That's all I'm going to say.
You literally just threw me off so much. I was like, we did not discuss this. This is not in my notes. I don't know what's happening right now, but like, okay, adapt and overcome. Like, if we're going to talk about this right now, let's fucking do it. But I guess we're not going to.
That's just a reason to listen to the next few episodes.
Are you going to be telling everybody within the next few episodes?
I sure hope so.
Okay. I also might have some news within the next few episodes. Hopefully. Kind of, sort of. Who the fuck knows, though, at this point, because it's taking very long. So,
that's just the story of everything.
Very true. Very, very true. It's always when you're the most excited about something that it doesn't instantly happen. It's like dragged out for so long until you know that it's like 100% a thing.
Well, also when you're so excited for something, you just want answers so fast.
Oh, yeah.
And it never happens that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I need an answer right now. And they're
right now.
I have other things to do. So I'll get back to you when I can.
And it's like, so
I'm like, but I need to
get back to me now? Right now?
Exactly.
Okay, great. We have a lot going on in our lives. There's a lot happening. We are insanely busy, but we like it that way. It's exciting to be busy.
Yeah, it is.
What is that face you're making? Do you not like your Corona?
No, it just, the bubbles went down the wrong way.
I mean, it's also a Corona premiere, and I don't know how I feel about those, for being
honestly, it's better if you put a lime in it.
Isn't everything better if you put a lime in it?
So that's the truest thing you've ever said.
At least most drinks are better when you put a lime in it.
Everything. You apply that to anything in life.
So if I just douse you in lime, you'll be better?
I mean, that's for you to decide.
I think that's a little debatable and probably not going to be better.
This is getting real weird.
Okay, are you ready to get into random shit? Because we have our guest, Jen, who is the owner of Wax Cabin Candle Company, who is coming on very shortly. So we should get to random shit.
Yeah.
I love candles. One of her candles is right next to me right now. This is not a candle that she is going
that's
to be talking
cool.
about, but it's one of the candles that is on her website from one of her previous collabs, and I have it burning right now. It smells so good.
You got your face real close to that flame.
Yeah, well, I like the fire. The danger excites me.
I would like to start off random shit.
Okay, you start random shit. Go.
First of all, I'm being attacked on social media.
By
everyone, because if you have listened to the last week's episode and follow us, you know that I'm doing a phone detox right now, where I'm not using my phone for a week, and I have this burner drug phone that people can call me on. People that are important in my life have the phone number.
Does that mean I'm important?
It does.
Or is it just because we do this podcast, so you need me to have the number because we need to contact each other for this?
Well, that, but I would give you the number anyway. Like, Yuritsa has the number, so you guys are on the important people list in my life.
I feel so special. Now I'm thinking, who would get my burner phone number?
It's a good exercise to do with your friends.
Right? Who do I really care about?
But anyway, so I've been posting on social media, and people are like, oh, I thought you were doing a detox. Blah. And I'm like, first of all, I said I'm doing a phone detox. Have you ever heard of a laptop?
Okay, but I will say that you deceived me because I thought that the main reason you were upset about your phone was the fact that you were spending so much time on your phone, 9 hours a day. Yes. And a lot of that is being on social media. So I thought you were doing a twofer type situation, like social media and your phone. That's what you led me to believe.
That's what
you led us down
thought.
The wrong path.
I did. Maybe it was my miscommunication, but I never said I was taking a break from social media. But
okay.
The reason...
What? But
no, don't.
Why is it, sir? Sir, are you paying attention?
I can hear you.
Why is it that I just saw a tweet come from you that was tweeted from an iPhone?
So, funny story.
Have you already failed this detox? I have a sense that you've already failed this detox.
Well, technically, yes, but I'm not giving up on it.
Jesus Christ.
Well, okay, here's what happened. I didn't realize that you can't share things to your Instagram story on the laptop. You have to do it on your phone. So we're doing this event. Yeah, we're doing this event on Wednesday, and I was like, well, I have to share it to my story because I can't just not post about it.
Okay, appreciate that.
So I went on my phone, and I did it, and then I shared it on Twitter also. And then it just made me look really bad because it made it look like I failed the detox. So I don't think I failed it yet. My phone is not being used. I'm still using my burner phone, and it's been 2 full days now, and I've got to say it's pretty great, and I might just switch to a burner phone for the rest of my life.
Okay, love that you're having a positive experience already. I also feel like you half failed, but I'm going to let it slide for now because I want to see just how much longer you last, because right now as we're recording this, it's only Monday night. So there's a lot of time still left for you to fail, and I will also follow that up with saying that all of our listeners think you're going to fail. There are very few of them. When I put a poll up and asked if they think that Jake could last a whole week without his phone, very few said that they had any faith in you. So we're all kind of on the same page that we don't think that this is going to last very long.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to do it. It's the little periods of time throughout the day that I'm saving. Walking to the bathroom, I always scroll through Instagram. Sitting on the toilet, I always scroll through Instagram. So that's why I'm not doing a social media cleanse. I'm doing a
what do you do
cleanse
on the
from
toilet
having
now.
Oh, I went out with my friend the other day. We went to a bar.
I always, if I'm on the toilet, scroll through, which is actually really disgusting when you think about it.
It is nasty. That's why I got a phone soap so I can clean my phone.
I have one too. Yeah, go ahead, continue.
So we were at a bar. We were sitting at this table, and she goes to the bathroom, and I'm like, all right, well, now what do I do? Because I was using my burner phone, and I just sat there and just stared at people, and it was super awkward.
See, those moments don't bother me that much. I kind of enjoy those moments to kind of people watch and give myself a second by my lonesome. But
it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's not that bad. But the on the toilet thing, I don't know how well I would do with the on the toilet thing.
You just get your business done and you get out.
Well, see, yeah, maybe it would make my poops a lot shorter.
I don't probably actually. You would definitely spend less time. Because when you have your phone, you get lost in something, and then you your poop becomes
Take your
longer.
time, yeah.
Right. If you got no phone, you go, you do your shit, literally, and then you get off.
That was stupid. All right, yeah. Well, we'll see if you fucking last. But yeah, we're gonna keep giving you shit because you kind of fucked up there, sir.
It was just so funny that you noticed that.
Of course I fucking noticed. I'm waiting for you to crack. I'm watching everything you do, just waiting for the moment that you crack.
I got so many responses to that Instagram story, and people like, I thought you were detoxing. I thought you were detoxing. I'm like, I am, but chill.
I do appreciate the fact that you had shared everything, though. That's good. You did the right thing there.
I like that people are trying to hold me accountable.
Yeah, we all are on this journey with you.
Thanks.
Together.
I just like every time you call me on my burner phone, I answer it as if we're about to do a
Dealing
drug deal.
Drugs. Yeah. How much you need?
That was earlier today.
I was like, I fucking hate you. Instantly, I was like, I hate this dude. Why did I call him again?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so my random shit is actually really quick, which works out very well because I think that our guest is going to be on soon. And we've never had a guest through this program that we're using, so we are not 100% certain on exactly how it works. So
yeah,
hopefully everything goes smoothly. We'll see. You got to try things to know, you know? So my random shit is that I found out that there is a website that you can go on to, the IRS website, but a section on the IRS website where you can find out when you're getting your stimmy.
Did you just call it a fucking stimmy?
It's a stimmy.
I hate you so much.
So you can find out exactly what day you're getting your stimulus check put into your bank account by going to this website, which I will share on our social media once this comes out so you can see if you haven't gotten yours yet.
Yes, please, because I want to know.
I know I'm getting mine this week, so I'm fucking pumped.
That's cool because I know you could check it before, but it wasn't giving you actual dates.
Oh, yeah. I got the actual date.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's time to party.
Oh, fuck yeah, it is.
Now that you got that stimmy.
Now I got that stimmy and can't really pay for anything with it because it's really not that much money anyway. But yes.
But
good
here
thing
we
I'm
are.
not paying for rent right now.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, I will take what I can get because your girl don't have a job right now. And like, I will take whatever money I can possibly get. I was actually thinking, this is a side note, of creating an account. I was watching Carla Marie and Anthony, and they were talking about this website where you can sell your used panties on.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
And
a long time ago.
But they like specifically talked about this one that you can like just make an account and just literally find these fucking weirdos. It's like Tinder for people who like used underwear. And not like eBay or anything like that or like Craigslist. It's like a legitimate website specifically for this. And I was like, why am I not doing this? Like, I should be just doing this because if you're dumb enough to pay for it, then I'm smart enough to take the money.
One, yes, you should 100% be doing that. Two, imagine the people that have developed this website and their friends and family are like, what do you do for a living? And they're like, oh, I'm developing an app where you can sell your panties to people.
That's so weird.
Like, I don't even know. I guess good for them.
Yeah, I mean,
because they're giving people like you opportunities that you wouldn't have had to make money.
Exactly. Like, I could do that. Like, it's a nice fallback plan to have, you know? Like, I don't have anything that I'm doing. So,
I'm like, do it now. What are you waiting for?
Okay. We have Jen here.
Hi.
She is the owner of Wax Cabin Candle Company, which we had previously said that we were going to have her on. Super pumped to have you.
I've been hearing you talk about me. I
love your candles.
What?
I love your candles, and I love the collabs that you do with all these artists and everything.
Thank you. They're new. It was sort of like a marketing idea we had, and in the beginning we would do a short run, but it would be maybe a month. But we realized that doing a 2-week run has been way more successful. So for Women's Month, we sort of popped out with an illustrator. Her name's Amanda Mustard, and we did some fun ones.
Yes, I have them all actually right here because you sent me some, like all 3 of them. There's 3, right? It's
yes,
Dolly, Kamala, and RBG.
Wait, guess who's the bestseller?
Ooh, is it RBG?
Yeah, Jake, who do you think it is?
Do you have one with Ricky's face on it? Because that would do pretty well.
Yeah, I do actually. It's actually your face.
Well, that's scary.
It is RBG.
That's awesome.
Love that.
For some reason, I thought it was going to be Dolly.
You know, I would have thought Dolly. That would have been my second guess, that it would be Dolly, because everyone loves her. You know, her big hair, her like love of life, the fact that she wants to help everything. Big hair, big everything.
I'm fascinated by her body. You can't not look at that body, Adi. But I feel like because it's Women's History Month, where we're looking for something to connect with that, something fun and playful. And so I found this illustrator and she rocks. And so, they've been doing well.
They are really freaking cool. They're obviously up on the website right now, so everybody can check them out if they want to and purchase all three, or you can purchase each individual one, right? It's 2 options.
Yeah, you could purchase all 3 at the smaller size, or you can go for the big girls.
Nice. I love that. They
girls.
smell so
Everyone loves
good.
a big girl.
They smell so good. And I think my favorite part of these, because I have other ones from you, is that they have glitter on the inside as like a fun added touch.
That was a fun burn test. There were some failures, you guys. You can't burn everything.
How do you describe to people what a candle smells like? Because I've gotten candles before where it says it's one thing and then you burn it and you're like, this smells horrible.
First of all, it's preference, right? Like, what's your go-to candle? Jake, what's your go-to?
Oh, I'm a very simple man. Vanilla.
I knew you were going to. Okay. And then Ricki, what's yours?
Okay, so I have 2 preferences. I like very like oceany kind of smells.
Yes.
Like sea salt smell, but I also love like earthy, like I guess
musk.
The ocean could be earthy in a way. Yes, like musk, like
so
woody, oaky kind of smell.
Are you grossed out by like a cookie candle?
Yeah, mostly because they're just so much that I'm like, ugh.
Right. Okay, Jake, do you burn a candle before like a date comes over? Pre-pandemic.
I burn a candle basically all winter long.
Okay.
Because I live with another guy, so our apartment, I don't want it to smell like man. I want it to smell nice.
So you throw some vanilla on top.
Yeah, it's just but I like vanilla because it's very basic. I've never met anyone that doesn't like vanilla unless it's one of those like birthday cake candles and it just smells so strong. My like perfect ideal candle is very subtle, light smelling, where you walk in, you're like, oh, it smells good in here, but you're not like, oh wow, what is that candle you're burning?
Yeah. So all right, so there's something called the cold throw and the hot throw. So you go to a store, you open it up, you sniff it, that's your cold throw. Then, like you were saying, sometimes you burn it and you want to barf. That's the hot throw. So really you have to, like, when you're testing stuff out, like I'm constantly burning different things and seeing what's, awesome, what's gross.
Right.
I like a mandel. I call it a mandel. Like I like a little musky tobacco, leather. That's my kind of candle.
Well, Ricki, you said you like the smell of the ocean. What is that in a candle?
It's kind of like
No, I don't know.
when you go to the beach and you get that like first wind coming off of like the water and it smells like sea salt kind of smell. Like it has like a specific oceany smell, not the oceany smell that you get when you're like surrounded by a bunch of people at the beach that all stink like sunscreen and BO. It's like by yourself walking next to the ocean and you get that whiff and you're like, ooh, that just like hits you and it feels good,
Yes. Yeah. It brings a memory. There's a sensory. Like there are certain times where you will be doing something random and you'll smell something and it'll bring you right back into a place, right?
Totally. 100%.
They say that your senses for smell is deep, deep, deep in the brain. So like a memory will spark back up very quickly.
That happened to me yesterday. I was at my friend's house and he had this hand soap in the bathroom and I used it and I smelled my hand and I was like, I know this smell. And I couldn't figure out where it was from. And then I was later in the day, I kept smelling it and I was like, you know what? A girl that I dated had this soap in her bathroom.
See?
Like
it was a bad memory.
My memory. No, it was not a bad memory, but it was just wild how my brain can do that.
It is amazing, that recall, because a lot of times I get that. You ever get that? Remember how your teacher used to smell? I don't remember it now, but when I smell it, I'm like, oh my God, there's Mrs. Blah, blah, blah in that smell.
Right.
Yes.
Or
It's so
people have, like,
strange.
my friends have smells, or their houses.
Yeah, childhood home, like when you would go over for a sleepover and you were like, there was some bad ones, I'm not going to lie. You're
Oh,
like, this,
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Like surprisingly bad ones where you walk in and you're like, this was a bad decision. Like I should
and
have never said I
I
would
was
sleep
sticking
over.
in the whole night, chick. I was sticking in. I wasn't calling home.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, well, now I'm here. What am I going to do? Just got to roll with it.
All right, this is what I want to know. These are the three ladies that she illustrated. Who are your three ladies that you would have had on?
Ooh,
It doesn't have to be three. We'll want to do one.
what a good question.
Don't say your mother.
I mean, that's
Jake
an
would have
obvious
definitely
one.
said his mom. Which honestly, Jake's mom, I would love her on a candle
let's
too.
just
She's the fucking
no
greatest.
mamas, no mamas, no sisters,
No mamas.
no relatives, no
Right.
mamas.
Oh man, that is such a hard question.
See, mine would have been Ellen DeGeneres, and then all that stuff came out about her being a horrible employer. So now I'd probably say Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
She's my girl.
Is she? She's your
Yeah.
go-to?
Yeah.
All right, Ricki, who's yours?
I want to say I loved Amanda Gorman, the youngest poet
That's a good one.
at the, yeah.
We were trying to remember her name today. Yes.
I love her. And I love that, she's like the youth. So she's the next generation of like very powerful females.
Yes.
So like, I think she would probably be my number one. Cause I am older than her and I look up to her.
Oh, interesting. So do you feel
In
like
a
you
way.
can only look up to someone because of their age?
Not necessarily. I think she's a kind of broken that idea for me.
Yeah.
Like, I think previously I did think that, or maybe not that I thought that, but it always worked out that way. That I always
Sure.
looked up to someone who just happened to be older than me. It's also typically quite easy to look up to somebody who's older than you because they've lived more life. They've had a lot more experiences. They're more comfortable typically speaking on how they feel about things. So it's easier to kind of look up to somebody who's older than you because you're like, oh, wow, you're so wise. You've experienced so much. You have so many thoughts about things. But watching her recite her poetry is like so powerful. And I'm like, you know what? I look up to you. Like that's a big deal. And that's scary as shit, if I'm being honest. You know what I mean? Like bearing your heart that way is very
there's a confidence
scary.
there too, because it's an art and that she's practiced. And so you also look up to that. Like, thinking about getting up and reciting a poem, that's like a horror show for me.
Oh yeah. Like because it's something that you feel so deeply, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's definitely scary. So I look up to her. I love that idea of like her on a candle or her on like a t-shirt or like a sticker that I would put on my laptop, like I would totally rock that shit.
I'm switching. Hold on. I was doing beer, but
oh, you just went from like a Guinness to what are you drinking, rosé now? That's quite the switch.
Like I couldn't decide. This was just sitting on my desk.
Life is about balance.
Welcome to the party.
Life is about this is
so why did you choose the three women that you chose for these candles? Like out of the bajillion women that you could have put on a candle, like what was it about these three that you were like, this is what I'm doing?
Well, you know what, the artist, the illustrator was working on these. She had some other ones, but we sort of like hit the mark on everybody, right? We have different ages, different races. I mean, Dolly, different genre. She's super popular right now with what she donated and for the vaccines. Kamala's super big right now. RBG, people relate to her in terms of looking up. I was listen, I don't know why I was shocked that she was selling the best.
Yeah, I think this is a big year for her, honestly, because of everything that's happened and obviously like what a big role she partook in our whole history. So like this is a big year for her. So
and it worked.
I think that's like a big deal,
Well, it worked out with when looking at artists, because prior to this, I worked with another artist. That's the one you bought some of her stuff.
I have it on my mantle right now, burning.
Silky cute. So it like started with working with female artists and like looking and aesthetics that I like and things that are funky. And then it moved on to this girl, slightly different aesthetic, like a little bit more pop culture. And so my next one, I can't say it, but it's a famous person.
It's a famous person?
I'll text it to you later.
That limits
I'm,
it down
really
to like
excited.
6 million people.
Yes. I can't say
male or female.
It's funny because I can't.
Ah.
I don't know how to. Let me think
I
of
love
how to
that you
answer
want to say, like, you want to say it, but you're like, I really can't.
I can't say it. I can't say it. There's two people, but let's say this. They are on Netflix.
Okay.
Do we limit it down more?
I would love to limit it down more.
Only because we didn't sign yet.
Okay. So everybody has to stay tuned. That's a good tease, though.
Sign, I'm going to be so excited.
So, Ricki, I have a question for you because this is the first time I think that we've ever had a small business owner on the podcast. Really, we don't have guests very often at all. And there was just something about your company, Jen, which is Wax
Cabin
Candle Company.
Yes.
I can't speak English. So it was something about your company that Ricki just clinged to right away, which is like amazing because obviously
she wants free candles. Want. That's what it is. She wants that. You want that vanilla candle and you want that sea breeze.
So, I will say the reason that I even knew about your candle company, number one, is your connection with Carla Marie.
Uh-huh.
And also, I had put out recently, probably like 2 months ago, I asked all of my followers on Instagram, like, send me your recommendations for candles because I wanted to buy new candles. And so many people sent your candle company to me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it kind of like refreshed my memory as to like who you were again. And I was like, oh, amazing. I'm going to order a candle from her. And then I saw so many cool options that I was like, I don't even know which one to freaking pick. And I had to pick two because I also saw, because you're local to New Jersey.
Yes.
That you had a candle that benefits the library in Mendham.
Yes. The book lover candle. So they came to me because we're trying to work on a give back line. So we did something with a dog organization. And then the library came to me and was like, we're having a hard time doing any sort of fundraising. Can you do a candle for us? So that's been successful too. Where were you guys Z100 wise in like 2016, 17? Were you there?
So you were still there, Jake,
right?
I was there. I had one of your candles on my desk for like 4 years.
So that's the only reason I got big was because I was like, one day I was just making candles and I was like, you could like text in at that time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I text in and was like, oh, Bethany said something that changed my life. And she did, but it was like, obviously, that sentence is like a little loaded. So they call back and I didn't pick up. I was doing something and getting the kids ready. And then I ended up like, they call back over and over and over again. And I ended up picking up and I told my story about how I had like a horrible, boring job and how I started this candle line. And because of that, Anthropologie heard there was a buyer for Anthropologie. And they bought 7,000 candles from me.
What?
And I've only been making it for 10 weeks. There was,
So because of that one phone call?
Because of that one phone call. And because, so I do that. I make candles all summer, all the time. And then I do Carla Marie's podcast. And from that, the girls, they were a week before myself. They're Ariel and Hannah from Happy Box Company. They're like another small business in Hoboken. And because of that connection, they purchased from me, and they purchased so much from me. Now I have a manufacturer and I work, and this is just amazing. Like the office right now. This is the basement. So it's all from there.
It's such a crazy way. Like, that is insane.
Do you know what's wild?
So cool.
Sorry. Well, I was going to say what's wild, and that you prove this, and what a lot of people don't do is people will just make excuses for why they don't do things, or they'll be like, yeah, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do this. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to text into this big ass morning show. And I'm going to tell them my story. Well, I'm sure you didn't plan on like telling me your whole story then, but like, it's there's so many little things that you can do to grow anything in life, whether it's your career, your business, whatever. And it sometimes it literally just takes one phone call. And it's so cool to hear that that's how your business exploded like this.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more boring than when someone wants to tell you their idea and that they didn't follow through on. You're like, when they're like, "Oh my God, I had this amazing idea for this, board game or beer," and you're like, "Cool," but when you can have the idea, what you have to do is you have to be a little bit obsessive about it. And every thought has to focus and be like, how can I do this? How can I, push this forward? And some of the stuff is going to fail. Like I've had some major stinkers, but some of the stuff is great.
Did this start as like a side hustle for you?
Yeah, I don't know. Do I love that term? That's a question.
Why not?
I don't know. I think hustle, something's cheap about it.
Okay. I mean, I kind of understand that in a way because like people are always kind of like it's become such a popular term for like everything.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a serious business. You know what I mean? Like you're like, I literally put everything into this, not just a hustle. It's a passion, it's effort, it's blood, sweat, and tears type of thing. You know what I mean? Like I think hustle has this new connotation now because we use it all the time.
I mean, I'm not, Jacob, I'm not mad at you.
We're like, okay, I mean, I didn't come up with the term, so.
But yeah, so it was like a side gig because when you have everyone has these moments and like you're super bored with your job and you're just like it's called busy work, right? You're just like I don't care. Your mind's somewhere else. You're half-assing it. Can we curse or no?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Okay. Half-assing it. And then I just hit every cursor. But and so you have the same thing with like the idea that you really want to manifest. You have the option there to say, am I going to get out of this funk or I'm going to sit in it? And a lot of people sit in it and that's fine. Because sometimes maybe you need to sit in it for a little bit before you could jump because you have to play a little bit before you understand what you want to do. So, it was a side hobby. That I truly believed in. I remember telling my dad, I was like, "Oh, Dad, I think I'm going to leave my corporate job and make candles." And he was like, like, how's the mortgage going to get paid for? But it was, and so it was just small. And so maybe the amount of good vibes and energy I put into it, like luck presented and made that phone call happen and made that person listen, that anthropology girl listen and, all these other things. I don't know. Are you universe people? Are you like,
oh yeah.
No,
you're not.
Jake's not, but
what's your sign?
Libra.
I don't know anything about signs.
I had to think about that.
Jake believes in nothing that's enjoyable to believe in or anything that's like fun for your life. He's just like, let's shit on everything that's enjoyable. So
no,
he doesn't believe in any of that.
I love a shit talker.
But that's why I think like I was going to say like, do you think it was really luck or it was like everything just fell into place at the right time or it was because you were such a hustler, I know you love that word, that you like made it happen. Like you just forced this to happen because you worked so hard on it.
Well, okay. So my mantra is eventually it'll be right. So it's giving myself the acceptance to know like it's not going to be right away, not to be disappointed, and just to know like, hey, you keep working at this. Eventually, it's going to be right. So if you give yourself that grace, then I think you don't feel defeated. And I think that's the big thing. You can't feel defeated.
Mm-hmm.
Were you ever in a point with your business where you were about to give up?
Yeah, there was 2 times. I had so when I had my second daughter, I have Marley and River, and they're 6 and 1.5. And you start to, this is the difference between your 20s and your 30s. Is like your time starts to get smaller for what you can do for yourself. And it's there. You just have to like compartmentalize. And so when I had the first kid, I was like, oh, I guess I'll do this. When I had the second kid, I was like, my husband's a doctor. He works a lot of hours. I'm like, can I make this work? Do I have the hours to make this work, or am I being a shit mom? And I still have a corporate job. I'm still a graphic designer from home. So you start to be like, am I making myself sick? Like, is this insanity? I don't know. And then I did get to a point where when I was doing like 3,000 candles a month for Happy Box to 10,000. And I had it was during the pandemic. I have all these college kids and stuff that would come into the house, and like, it was just exhausting. So I had a decision to make. Do I cut it, or do I find the capital and a manufacturer and do it? Because you have to find, that's the most difficult part about starting any project, is finding the money to start it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, if you want to start a t-shirt line, or you want to start something, you might need 20 grand at the jump just to invest in it for the product.
Oh, totally. I mean, I even talk about when I started, because I started this podcast alone. Jake wasn't part of it originally. And I had started this podcast because I wasn't getting the opportunities that I wanted on air to be a co-host on air or anything like that. And I was like, I can't give up that easy. I have to do something. So I created this podcast with another girl who had quit on me about 3 episodes in.
Did you have the idea that, like, was there like a little voice that you wanted to do it a couple times, like a year? It's kind of like when you want to break up with somebody. There's like a year before you're like, definitely want to break up with this person. And then like creeps up,
Yeah. No, it definitely happens that way for sure. But like, one of the things that I always tell people, because people come to us constantly and they're like, how do I start a podcast? And I'm like, I am not a good person to ask this.
If you have to ask that question, you're out.
I mean, to an extent, for sure. And I think that it's scary for a lot of people. So like, my main point of this, though, is like, I was lucky enough because I had worked at Elvis and I was still working at iHeartRadio at the time, that they were like, use the Z100 studios to record your podcast. That's fine. And I was like, what? So I had all the equipment. I had everything set up for me. I wasn't dishing out any money for this other than the money that it took me to get into the city. You know what I mean?
Right,
so like, I really didn't have to invest money into starting this. It was just time and effort, and that was it. So like,
which is investment.
Oh, so of course. But like, it's a totally different deal. Oh.
I just walked in the room one day and she's like, hey, do you want to record an episode with me? And I was like, sure. And then it just kind of stuck.
Is that bullshit?
He's lying. It was not that simple, number one.
Were you begging?
No, she rejected me at first.
I did. So what I did was, and Carla Marie actually gave me this idea because I came to her devastated. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I just had this feeling in my gut. Like, I have to do this podcast in order to get my name out there, in order to hone my craft, and in order to be taken seriously. So I need to do this. But how the heck am I going to do this now that I don't have someone else? I can't just talk into a mic to an invisible person.
I imagine that's a very difficult to like solo podcast.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know what to do. And she was like, have rotating podcast, like host, like just keep asking your friends to come on and host with you as their co-host. And it's almost kind of like you're auditioning them, but it's kind of cool for anybody that wants to hire you. You're proving that you can work with multiple different types of people.
Very good.
So I was like, genius, duh, no brainer. So I started doing that. And Jake sat down with me. I think it was after the second time I had him on. And he was like, hey, and I could tell it took him a lot of courage to ask this too. So I felt really bad afterwards. But he was like, hey, like, what are your thoughts on if I became your permanent co-host? And I had been burned so bad by the previous girl. And it's like a breakup, like you were saying. So I was like bitter still. And when he had asked that, I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I kind of am in the groove of just having different people on right now. So I don't know if I'm ready to make that leap again. Just like trust somebody to do this, because I needed to find someone who was as emotionally time, money invested into it in order for it to really succeed. And I wasn't sure if that was him at the time. And deep down, I was sure that it was him. But like I said, I was just
God,
burned.
you've never admitted that.
I was burned and I was pissed. Shut up. Fuck off.
So wait, when Harry met Sally, when they like bop into like the couples and they tell each other's story, I want to hear Jake's side now because I bet it's different.
Go ahead, Jake, tell your side.
That was pretty similar. I was like, hey, I think we like have good chemistry together. We should make this a thing. And she was like, no.
And then asked her to marry you? Like,
and then I was like, I think maybe we should have a baby together. And then she didn't want to do that, so I'm childless. But you had a good point, Jen. You said something earlier that I think will strike home with a lot of people, and if it doesn't, then maybe we'll make them think differently. Ricki said, if people say, how do I start a podcast? And you said, if you have to ask that question, that's the first problem.
It's a big question with a lot of bullet points underneath, right? And I think the difference is if you came to both of you and said, well, specifically, what equipment should I buy? That's different than saying, like, how do I start a podcast? It's almost fatiguing, right? That's like taking your energy and not really offering anything. So, I don't know. I think, and I want to let you go. I think you're a very good dynamic. When I listen to you, I think, Jake has like, I'm trying to describe the right word, but you have like, very wacky and, and then I feel like Ricki like puts a bow on it. You know what I mean? Like she's like the mama and then you come in with like some crazy stuff. Like, do you want to tell me how it went with the no phone burner thing?
Yeah, well, we're still in the middle of it.
Oh.
It's not going so well. It's not going so well, but yes.
It's going fine. Don't
And I also want to point out there was an episode I was like working and listening to where you announced that you are barfing and shitting and then don't tell why. And then the podcast ends. And I was like, hope it's okay.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You should always assume we're not okay. Oh.
But you didn't mention it was your COVID vaccine until the next episode. You're just like, I was puking and shitting at the same time last night. The end.
That's like a really good wrap up of our entire vibe.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think you're right on the money there. I'm the one that keeps it somewhat in line, but not totally in line because that's just not our vibe. We're very all over the place.
Everyone needs the dynamic. Everyone needs the oddball and then, the whatever you want to describe yourself as, but it's a good dynamic. It's fun to listen to.
I agree.
Thanks.
Have you guys ever fought in a podcast?
Ooh, I think we debate a lot, but we don't necessarily fight.
I feel like we fight quote unquote more off the podcast because we'll like argue about what we want to do, and then by the time we get to the podcast, it's already figured out.
Right. It's not that we don't ever fight, because trust me, there are plenty of times where I sit here and I'm like, I'm going to fucking punch him in the face the next time I see him because he is driving me insane. And I'm sure he feels the exact same way about me. I would be shocked if he didn't. So like that totally happens. It's almost kind of fucked up because it's one of those things that we talk about where we talk about relationships and how relationships on social media always show the positives, not the negatives. And that's kind of what we end up doing with the podcast. Like,
yes.
Even when we're annoyed with each other, we're like, we have a fucking job to do. So we need to get on this podcast and we need to make it fucking work. Otherwise, it's going to fall the fuck apart.
Would you ever work out a fight on here?
Ooh, good question. I wouldn't care. I'm way more open than Jake is, though.
I don't think people want to hear that. Like, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I would not want to hear that if I was a listener. I don't want to hear you airing your shit to each other during the podcast. Like, figure it out. This podcast is like an hour of time to just not think about anything bad happening in your life and to just move on and smile and be happy. And so I think that's kind of what we like to stick to, where it's like we don't argue on here and we just stick to making people's days better.
Yes. Do you have stalkers?
Stalkers? That's an interesting word. That's like my version of a hustle. Except there's like real stalkers.
You like hate the word stalker?
We have a lot of people who are emotionally invested for sure. And we love that. Like, we have a lot of people, for instance, I have a lot of people who are very emotionally invested in my relationship because when I started my relationship that I'm in, it was on the podcast, I talked about it every week. You know what I mean? Like how I felt, our dates that we went on, what I thought he was like, when I thought we were going to have sex, like everything that you would normally talk to with your girlfriends, I
Yes.
talked about on the podcast. So everyone went on that journey with me, and now they're like so emotionally invested that sometimes I'll get messages
Like,
where
how's
they're
your sex
like,
life?
I haven't seen well, they're like, I haven't seen AJ on your stories in a while. Like, is he still around? And I'm like, yes, don't worry. Like, we're still together.
Oh.
And I think it's really sweet and endearing. Like, I'm cool with it. Like, it doesn't bother me. And that's something that I knew was going to happen when I signed up for this, because I am so open, and you do get attached to the people that you're listening to, because I talk about everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
But we do have amazing listeners who asked us questions about you.
Jake's like,
Jen.
I'm going to avoid this
I thought Jake was
question.
doing damage control. He's like, we don't have stalkers.
We don't have
Jake doesn't want to
stalkers.
say who his stalkers are, is what's
Except for-
happening.
Except for the person waiting outside my door right now. We don't have any stalkers. No, but Ricki put on our Instagram story, do you have any questions for our wonderful guest?
Yes.
And I was like, well, first of all, I don't know that she's wonderful yet, but that was confirmed.
That's
so
true. We don't have any rapport. I didn't send you candles. I haven't DM'd you. We have no relationship. I apologize.
It's our
I have
first
a
time meeting.
surprise at the end of the interview, and I'll let you know when you tell me.
Gotcha. But anyway, so Ricki got a few questions about, or people that had questions about owning a business and being a powerful woman and, you know, all those things that you do.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Some of them are already kind of answered just through our conversation, which I knew would happen. But, you know, people like Jake asked, wanted to know if there was ever times that you doubted it or almost gave up, which you said yes, which I think is entirely normal. Like, if you don't doubt it at one point, then are you actually that invested? You know what I mean?
think
Like,
also you have to have the confidence to say something, and like you might get a bad response. Like, what, you know, I don't know if you wanted to start like some business, like a quilting business, you know, you might tell people and they might give you strange feedback. But if you really like to do it and you see a market for it, you know, and you could back it up, and, you know, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt yourself at all. That's the last person you need to doubt is yourself.
but having moments of being like, maybe I shouldn't do this, or like, maybe I should give up, I think is like way more normal. Of like,
Way more normal.
am I doing this like, is this right for me?
Yeah, and then I think you have to do the old school list thing, and then you have to look at the bank account, and you have to, you know, you have to make some, or you have to make an edit, and that's also a third option. You go for it, you stop it, or you make an edit to it.
Totally, 100%. Okay, so we have questions like, okay, how long from starting your business, this is actually my favorite one. How long from starting your business did you then consider it, quote unquote, successful?
Okay, so what's your definition of successful?
I was going to ask you, I think the ultimate thing is asking you what you found successful, because that will obviously determine when you thought it was successful. I think that people think success is money, where I don't necessarily think that that's success. But I guess like the first question should really be like, why did you even go into this business to begin with? Like, what did you want to accomplish by starting this business?
Well, okay, so I am a graphic designer. That's my like background. But initially I had started because I like product design. And initially I started to do yoga mats. And I had a company called Jolly Jiva. And we would take yoga mats. And we found someone in the United States that would print any design onto the yoga mat. But like, think about how many times you've purchased a second yoga mat.
Right.
And so we got lucky, and Quicksilver bought the rest of our products, and then they went out of business. So they couldn't like return it or anything. So that gave us the money to say like, okay, well, what is the next thing? What can you put design on? Because I really like to, you know, product design. It's like, think about, you know, there's so many ugly tissue boxes, and, you know, so my thought of like a candle, instead of having an ugly label, it would be an art piece for design, but people burn it and then they come back and buy a new one.
Right.
Right. You drink that bottle of wine, you go back and get a new one. So there's a moment for design on there. So to be successful, though, when I found it successful is, you know, I don't know, it's such a hard question, because same deal. It's not ideal, but I don't look at money as being successful. And I'll be honest, the last year and a half, and I've been doing this since end of 2016 is when I finally started making a profit. So
Okay.
it wasn't a negative. I was never in the negative. It was just constantly reinvesting it. And so you really need to find a big client so that you can make a large profit. And so this is really the first time it's been successful enough. So if I were to look at it, and I would look at it in terms of numbers and say, could I leave my other job? And then I think it would be successful for me personally. But as a business, I think it's becoming more recognizable. Maybe that's a success. Maybe there's little successes and I don't need to pick a gigantic one.
I like the idea of little successes because it really is little success, like little moments that are like, okay, this is the right path. I'm doing what it's like supposed to do. I feel good about it.
Yeah.
To ultimately get to what you want to get to in the end.
Yeah. And when you get like stoked about something, like super excited, you're like, oh, this is working. There's like, you could feel it, right? You could feel it, if like, you're on a good date, you're like, this is a good date. If you're on a bad date, it's like, how am I going to get out of this? How can I get my burner phone out? Well, they think it's weird though.
Yes.
Maybe all you have to do is take out your burner phone and they're like, we're good. I don't be on the date.
Exactly.
So we know that you have your full-time job and then this is your hobby that you do.
No, this is my full-time job. I have 2 full-time jobs.
Okay. See, I love that idea because I used to always say, and Jake used to get mad at me at first with the podcast. I'm like, I have multiple jobs because this is a job. I put a lot of time and effort into this podcast between social media, recording, editing, figuring out the next step, trying to make merch, all of those things. You know what I mean? I'm like, it is a job. And everybody always wants to say, if you love it, then it's not a job. And I'm like, that's just flat out not true.
Yeah, sometimes it's just, there are aspects you love of it. But Jake, why were you mad about that? Why are you mad?
I don't know. Why was I mad about that?
You got so mad at me the one day. You were like, it's not a job. All we do is fun stuff. And I'm like, you're not doing the other shit.
Yeah, it's a job now. Well, now that we when we were doing it before, we weren't doing as much stuff, and now we really do a lot. So now it's definitely a job.
But I was always doing the lot part. He wasn't.
Yeah.
So
but don't you like doing that part probably, or you're a control freak, maybe like that.
I'm 100% a control freak. I completely 100%, especially when we first started, because I was like, you don't get it. I want to do it. I know I'm doing it right. I feel good about it.
You were very invested in it. Yeah.
And now that he actually does half of what I do, or at least like slowly starting to do half of what I do, it's like, okay, this is a job. It's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Yeah, there's the fun, and then there's all the other stuff, like, telling your stalker.
So then how do you balance both of your jobs then, and you said you have kids.
Yeah, I always get embarrassed to say like I have kids. Is that so immature?
No, it's not immature.
Why are you embarrassed?
I just want to be like the cool girl that has a business.
It's only weird. It's only weird if you have kids and a burner phone. One or the other is okay.
We know. There's also a second husband in that scenario. Whole other family. Never understood the second family situation.
We talked recently about the fact that we're still in the stage where like, or at least I am, where my girlfriends come to me and they're like, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing about it? And like, are we happy? Do I need to drive you somewhere? Where are we at here? Like, I'm still at that point in my life, so I get it.
Dude, I'll never forget, and I've like apologized for this before, but when I was in my same age as you guys, like I had a friend a little bit older come up to me and he was so excited. He was like, my girlfriend and I we're pregnant. And you guys, it just was like, I was like, on purpose? And they're like our really good friends now. But like, so, all right. So yeah, okay, let's do this. When. I have 2 kids. I home, pandemic. I was teaching for a little bit.
Ooh.
But like, no, just like the kids, just like making sure Zoom school was happening.
Yeah, no, that sounds like shit. Like that does not sound fun.
Suck. There was a lot of day drinking and screaming.
My boyfriend's a teacher, so I listened to him on virtual being like, okay, you can't be on your bed right now. Like,
yes. My favorite is when the parent would walk away and I would just watch what the kid was doing. And he was like, jumping and like sword fighting for no reason. And I love it. So So then I have full-time job during the day, and then I have another job, and it just is what it is. Like, fucking suck it up. Like, that's that's the capital. That's the capital for the other business. That's the, busy work, whatever it is, and I'm grateful. I have to be grateful for that. I can't shit on that either, because the second business took a lot of money to start up. So
Are you a
then I
workaholic?
think
yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
But like, I think that's a good thing. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing unless it brings a lot of negatives to your life. Like, if you don't take care of yourself or other things in your life that are necessary because you're so focused on work and nothing else, then that's a bad thing. But I mean, you can't really neglect your 2 children, so I guess it's not really a bad thing for you. Do you know where they are right now?
Someone's sleeping. I'm just kidding. But like, I also think that in order to have something succeed in the beginning, you do have to be a little bit of a workaholic. Like, you have to work a little bit harder than everybody else.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's 9:00 right now and you guys are doing this, and then consistently, I'm sure podcasting, it's like the majority of people are successful is like, I expect this thing to come out every single Thursday because I'm stoked to hear you. And if I don't hear you, I go and listen to somebody else, and,
Yep.
and so there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One missed
No, you're right.
episode, you can lose a listener.
We've missed, what is it? Maybe one week in our entire time of us 2 doing it together. We've missed 1 week, and that's it. And it was recently, and it was a situation that we could not avoid, but we never miss a week.
Yeah, I've always noticed that, especially when because I work alone a lot. When I'm here, I listen to a ton of podcasts, and so I've noticed then you start getting into the 2 a weeker, especially during the pandemic. There was ones I were doing every day.
Oh.
Yeah, we did 2 a week for a while. Do you remember that, Jake?
Yeah, it was weird because it was like half the amount of work, but double the amount of podcasts.
Yeah. Well, because we were like in such a groove at that point because we were doing it so often because we were doing it twice a week that it was almost like hardly any editing that needed to be done. We were like, all right, down to a fucking science of like what we were posting, when we were doing this, when this was happening. And it was all just like consistency, like you said, a schedule that we could handle and understood what our schedule was by each of us, like what our responsibilities were. And it was just like, oh, this is easy.
Well, and I think that is really the root of all successful small businesses. Starting it is consistency. Like, hey, every morning I have this habit where I send these emails out, or I'm producing this thing, or I'm researching this thing. And then, especially with marketing, social media marketing, anything related to that, you can't be flaky and do like 2 here and then be gone for 2 weeks and then expect, you know what I mean? So that's a big part of it too.
We have so many more questions, but there's just not enough time. But I feel like we could talk to you for like 6 hours.
Guys, cheers.
I would just thank you. Cheers. I wish I was double fisting also, but I'm just drinking a beer. I guess the last thing that I would love for you to leave our listeners is like, if someone's trying to start something, like, what's the best way to just go for it?
Like, you guys, how do you start a podcast? You know what I mean? Like, big question. I don't know. I mean, make a list, figure out your numbers. Boring. Right? Like, can you do it? Do the numbers make sense? Do you have the time? Are you committed? Do you want to do it? And do you believe in yourself? And do your research. If you want to start something, but there's 4 other companies doing it, but why are you more unique? What's more unique about you? And it's a good thing always to talk about it to other people. Oh, wait, before we go, are you ready for the thing I want to ask you to do?
Yes.
I think you guys should have a competition.
Oh, God.
On a short run candle. You pitch to me your idea for a short run candle. Well, I'll send you the contract with all the percentages and stuff, and you see who wins.
Oh, so like we'll pitch, like each of us are going to pitch an idea for a candle to you.
I will launch both of them at the same time. And then we'll see who has better sales. And
I fucking love
this is
this.
your small business. And people can write in and like give us suggestions.
Wait, so do we figure out everything for this candle, like what it's going to look like and the smell?
Okay, you guys. Here's you can pick anything you want. This is double wick, and you have the option to put some glam on the top. Okay.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Pick the scent. So that's 16 ounce, 8 ounce. We'll work together on the design. We have in-house design team.
This is so fucking cool.
I'm so like, into really this pumped. Idea.
Also, I want you to pick the price because the winner has the better gross sales.
So so it's not whoever sells more candles, whoever produces more revenue.
Yes, because we've had people do collaborations and they are like, oh, I want to do the mini. And you have to work twice as hard to sell that mini. So, or do you do this one, which is an awesome candle, burns more, we got twice the stuff, but do people buy it?
This is a hilarious idea, and I so fucking
love this.
So, and I want you to think of what is on it.
Oh my God, this is fucking cool. I love this idea.
Okay, before we go, do you have any last questions regarding that?
Well, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of questions.
I'm also shocked and excited, and I'm like, I don't even know what questions I have now because I'm just so excited about this idea.
I'm launching in April, you know Hoboken Girl?
Yes.
Hoboken Girl is launching her own short run line with us. So I need somebody for unless the Netflix person comes in, I'm definitely booting you guys the fuck out. But wait, what is it? Well, okay. It would be either the second week in April.
Okay.
So this will be 1 week.
We do it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because we get the explosion when everyone buys it, and then the second week is when all the people talk about it and tell their friends, and then they buy it.
Gotcha.
This is fucking awesome. I love this because we love competition. We did
this is going to be very funny.
We did a meetup, and I kind of made it more of into a competition than Jake did because I love competition. Where we did a meetup, and we had a Ricki drink and a Jake drink. And I was like, more people are going to order the Ricki drink than the Jake drink. Just watch. And I like made it into a competition for no fucking reason whatsoever other than like, I just love competing. So this is awesome.
What were the drinks? Just because I want to guess.
Oh God. I like can't remember what they were. I think mine was like apple whiskey and something else.
I'm going to like Rose Guinness.
Rose
and
Guinness
I don't remember
combo.
what Jake's was. Do you remember what yours was?
I don't know. I was so drunk. I don't even remember that night.
So I guess you won.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was.
Mine was something with vodka, probably, because I like vodka.
You like vodka and I like whiskey. So like mine was a whiskey drink. His was a vodka drink. And I actually don't know if we ever found out who ended up winning. Like we never asked the bartender who won that competition. I think it was more like the shit talking that was fun for us because it was like, no, I'm gonna win, no, I'm gonna win, and then we just got really fucked up and drunk and just met all of our listeners and had a great time and didn't think about it.
All right, you guys, so think about size, label, design, scent.
I love this.
Amazing. Cheers to you.
Cheers, Jen. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for joining us.
I love her.
That was awesome and way longer than we were planning, but it just kind of went. I didn't know I was so into candles. I had so many questions for her. It's like, how do you get it to smell like it actually smells?
Which is such a Jake question. I'm literally not. Once you asked that, I was like, yep, that checks out for Jake. I love her. I love this idea. This is so fucking exciting. Don't forget, guys, it is for 2 weeks right now. All of the limited run of all of the women candles, the Kamala, the RBG. I got this one right here. If you're on YouTube, you can actually see them. I also posted them on my Instagram. And the Dolly. Go support a badass small business woman who I am absolutely obsessed with now. And go buy them.
That was great. I'm happy you did this.
I see, sometimes you just gotta have a little faith, Jake. A little faith.
I never doubted it. It was better than I expected. But I also had zero interactions with her and know nothing about her other than I love her candles. So
Right.
it was
Totally
like
understand that.
blind date.
We have so many other things to talk about, but that just worked out so well that it ended up being longer than we expected, and I'm not upset about it. I know Jake isn't either, and I know you listening also aren't upset about it because it was a great just conversation as a whole. So I think we just gotta hold off on my babysitting chronicles.
Oh my God.
We
By
have
the
to talk
time we
about
get to that, the baby's going to be 3 years old.
and we have to talk about we have advice that listeners are asking us for. We actually have a lot of listeners asking us for a lot of different advice. So I think we actually should do an entire episode basically on just advice.
Yeah, I mean it's some good questions that people have posed and ones that I think will make you and I think as well, so it's going to be a good conversation.
Agreed. We also just got another one on our text line too recently. So we have a lot of you guys asking us for advice. So we're going to have to do that either next week or the week after. I want to shout out somebody too, but we're going to do that next week because we forgot last week and this week we don't have time. So we're just going to get into Hot Mess Express and you're just going to have to wait for next week for all the other stuff.
I wish that we had the time to do 2 episodes a week because we have so many things that we want to get to now.
I know. And it's so
But
crazy how it works that way because like some weeks we're like, fuck, what are we going to talk about? And then other weeks we're like, we have so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hot Mess Express, we will call this one Lacey. So Lacey had sent in her Hot Mess Express, and it's a sober one.
I love that.
I know that that's your fave, Jake. Lacey said, I think I'm a contender for the Hot Mess Express. First, I'm completely sober, and this happened minutes ago. I love that literally the first thought was, I have to text them and tell them that I did this. Backstory. I have to sleep with a CPAP machine for sleep apnea, and the mask is rubbing on my nose to the point where it's raw. My fiance told me this morning to put Neosporin on it after I showered. So I'm in the bathroom taking care of my face. I remember I need to put something on my nose. I grab the tube of ointment on the shelf and start rubbing it on the bridge of my nose and thought it smelt weird. It smelt weird because it was my fiance's preparation H that I didn't know was in the bathroom. I put butt cream on my nose.
Wow.
Which I think is something that Jake would end up doing, to be honest.
That's definitely something I would end up doing.
Especially getting out of the shower because you don't have like your contacts in or your glasses on and you would totally just reach for it and put it on your face and then be like, what the fuck is this?
I'm really liking the last few weeks Hot Mess Express stories because it's stories that are like, wow, you are a hot mess, but also like that could have been so much worse.
Yes. Also though relatable because like any of us would fall for that and just mistakenly do that and be like, fuck, I'm an idiot.
I'm just happy that it wasn't worse than it was because I don't know how much more of these really, really, really cringy stories I can handle.
Oh, well, you better buckle in. Get ready for this ride, Jakeford, because we're going to keep accepting them. Don't forget, keep sending your Hot Mess Express stories. Wrap it up, Jake, with your spiel.
Wait, who was the Hot Mess Express person?
Lacey. She is the conductor this week.
Congratulations. Sorry, I just wanted to congratulate her.
I mean, good for you. I'm happy that you want
anyway,
to
so Ricki made a good point that we don't talk about is you can watch us on YouTube and you can watch us drink, and this would be a good one to watch on YouTube because it was more than just Ricki and I. Also, you can text us 201-588-5139 or follow us everywhere at 20SDN podcast. And also, if you share us with a friend, then I will personally be a very happy person.
Ah, okay, yeah. So I was like, where the fuck is he going with this? And do we have it in the budget? Like, where is my paperwork of what we owe? Because I think we have $0 in our bank account right now.
Do we even have the budget for me to be a very happy person? Because I don't think so.
Do you mentally have the budget for that?
Yes, thanks to you.
Okay, then we're fucking doing it.
All right. We'll see
Catch
you later.
Next week. Bye.